What's going on, guys? So we're going to be doing our first whiteboard session today, and the topic of discussion, of course, is going to be food prep. So the reason why I think food prep is so important, well, if you have any kind of goal, this is going to play a major key in obtaining that goal. Whether if you want to build more muscle, if you want to lose weight, if you want to save money, right? So buff on a budget, right? The most important thing is food prepping because it helps us budget how much we're going to spend if we end up throwing out a lot of food sometimes, or overcooking food and then end up throwing that out because we're not food prepping. So the most important thing, right, is why. Why are we going to food prep? Well, we need a goal. So building muscle, right? Because we want to be buff. So building muscle, well, we have to understand how to do that. The first thing is, okay, how do we build muscle? Well, protein, right? Protein is an important factor into building muscle. So we want to make sure when we food prep that we focus our food prep on protein. And then the other things will come in around it, right? Because we're trying to build muscle, and the most important attribute that you're going to need is a additional amount of protein to do that. So if you don't understand protein and how that works and how many grams of protein you need, we can cover that in another video. Just shoot a comment down below and we can talk about it. But what we're going to talk about is the importance of food prep and how budgeting helps, in the sense that if we create a menu ahead of time, we know what we're going to shop for, we know what we're going to eat, and therefore we know how we're going to track our calories. So let's say if you were to get a food tracker app, it would have a couple of sections, right? Probably breakfast, and then maybe breakfast one, lunch one, let's call this a snack, and then dinner, right? Or you can make this snack one, and then this will be snack two, right? So you can see that. Lunch one, snack one, and dinner. And then if you're building a lot of muscle, we're going to want maybe even a second serving at dinner time. So how we figure this out is, right, how many calories are we going to need in a daily basis, right? Like, so if you don't know how to figure that out, we take our total daily energy expenditure. If you don't know how to figure that out, we will talk about that another time. But once we figure out how much calories we need to intake, we have to then break it out into our meals. So if you're a small person, then most likely you won't need as many meals. But if you're a bigger person or looking to build more muscle, then you're probably going to have to break it down into more meals, because it's hard to eat a lot at once. You start to feel full. So let's say, take myself for example. Let's say I eat roughly 3,000 calories a day. Right? Because I weigh around 215 pounds, and then with the amount of energy that I create throughout the day, I'm burning roughly around 3,000. So if I was going to start reducing calories, or let's say reduce calories, right? So I want to go to 2,700. So I got to figure out how I'm going to get 2,700 into this. Call it 1,500, 2,000. We can, again, it's all based on each individual. So once we break that down into how many meals we're going to have throughout the day, that's how we're going to understand how we meal prep. How much are we going to need to meal prep? So if I'm making 5 meals a day, 6 meals a day, I'm going to have to meal prep a lot more than someone that has to make only 3 or 4 meals, right? So if you are on a budget, you're probably going to want maybe only 3 meals a day, right? And have to get your calories into those 3 meals, as opposed to someone that is maybe investing more into their nutrition, right? So let's break it down. we have our amount of meals. Now we figure out what we want to have for the week, right? So, ground turkey, ground beef, right? And then we take that and we take 7 days. 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's say 4 ounces of chicken is roughly 30 grams of protein. I'm going to need that 7 times a week. 4 ounces times 7. We're going to get a little under 3 pounds of chicken just for that meal, right? Just for that 7 days of chicken. Now, you're like, 7 days? No way, dude. I'm not eating 7 days of chicken. That is boring. Well, that's why you meal prep. That's why you menu prep. Because you don't have to make the same kind of chicken. You can take a chicken, put it in a crock pot, let it slow cook, and then use that chicken in a soup. Use that chicken in a salad. Use that chicken in tacos. Use that chicken with rice. And now with one dish, you've created 5 different meals, right? Something that I like to do is coming up on winter time here, right? So taking squash like acorn squash or zucchinis and scooping them out almost like a boat, and then filling that up with chicken, with beef, with turkey. You could do like a Mexican style. I like to do with corn and tomatoes and ground beef and black beans, and I stuff zucchinis with that. And then you can literally portion out how much is going to go into each container based on, again, what your goal is and how much you need to eat, right? And look, most important thing, one thing at a time. Start with one thing at a time. Take one thing out of this and start with that. So like maybe breakfast, I like to start people with overnight oats. If you like oatmeal, this is a great start. Overnight oats, easy. Half a cup of oats, half a cup of almond milk, chia seed, a little sugar if you need it, or some berries or peanut butter. And you can even throw a scoop of vanilla protein in there. Again, if you're trying to add more protein, that's a great way to get it in. And then, boom, make 6, 7 jars and get that down. Like, get that for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Because if you do 6 or 7 jars, that means you're really only doing it 3 times over a 21-day period. Because you're doing it, let's say Sunday, so you could do Sunday meal prep, right? Sunday night meal prep, or Monday meal prep, whatever. Make it a thing, right? Call it Monday meal prep. What am I doing for my Monday meal prep? And right, like every week, just make that one thing, and you have breakfast knocked out, and therefore you already know, like, this is what you're doing for breakfast. Great. And now you can learn how to budget accordingly. Hey, this is what I spend on a monthly basis on my breakfast, because I'm eating within a certain range of, let's say, if you had blueberries one day or peanut butter, whatever it is, variable, right? Once you get that, cool. Now lunch, cool. How do we want to make ground beef? Do we want to do the chicken, like I said? Do we want to do fish? If you're going to do fish, I recommend keeping that towards the beginning of the week, right? If you're a vegetarian, hey, black bean patties, white bean patties, sweet potato and black bean and quinoa patties. Get creative. Lentil sloppy joes or a lentil stew, like instead of a beef stew, make a lentil stew. Same ingredients, just leave the beef out. And just get creative with what you got. Use portobello mushrooms and cube those up. Or if you eat tofu, use tofu recipes. It's easy to find recipes. It's just learning how to make the most of it, right? Because nobody wants to make 5, 6, 7, 8 different dishes throughout the week. You want to do it once, twice, and then not have to think about it. So when you create a menu, you can be like, all right, cool. With my chicken, I'm going to have brown rice and sweet potato. Brown rice on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Sweet potato on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And then you can throw, look, have a cheat meal or a treat meal once a week. Enjoy it. They say 90 or 80% of the time you should be eating the right things. So that leaves room for a snack here, a treat there. But make sure that if you plan ahead, you can plan those meals ahead, like the treat meals ahead, or going out with your friends and having a night out, because you've created that menu, you've budgeted not just your calories, but your food and where you're not throwing out, not wasting, because it's easy to be like, all right, I'm going to make burger patties for the whole week, but then by Tuesday or Wednesday, you're sick of eating burger patties. So you got to be creative. So like, can you make those patties and then instead of making them burgers after the second day, put them in like red sauce and have them in spaghetti squash if you're trying to lose weight. If you don't care about the calories and you won't need the carbohydrates, have it in regular pasta. But the idea is like, how can you meal plan so that way you are budgeting accordingly your calories and your money, right? Because that's the most important thing. People say it gets expensive to eat healthy. Well, yes, because a lot of times people end up throwing the food out because it's real food. It doesn't have as long of a shelf life as processed food. So you just have to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to meal prep. Something I used to do was I would just come home from the market and I would take the chicken out of the packaging and right away put it in like one bag of balsamic chicken, one bag of like a Greek seasoning, one bag of like honey mustard chicken, one bag of teriyaki chicken. And that way, even though, I'm going to be eating those consistently, it's 5 or 6 different kinds of chicken, right? And really, that's the most important thing. Because if you want to be consistent with food prepping, you got to be creative and want to eat the food you make, right? So learning how to make chicken parmesan at home, well, you take chicken and instead of using regular pasta, use artichoke pasta, or now they have the chickpea pasta, or you could use, like I said earlier, the spaghetti squash, and instead of doing a chicken cutlet, you just do a regular grilled chicken and do tomato sauce, and instead of doing a lot of cheese, measure it out, teaspoon. And then you do that for like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. Before you know it, you know what your food is supposed to look like because you've done it so many times with so many different things. And then when you go out, you know what to order and how much to eat, because that's also like you can make healthy food, but if you overeat, you're going to still gain weight, right? If you go into an abundance of calories, you're going to gain weight. So it's like learn how to measure, and again, take one thing at a time. So, start with like breakfast where something is easy like oatmeal or egg muffins. I love egg muffins. If you don't know how to do that, shoot me a comment and I'll give you the recipe for that. But make it easy on yourself. Do one thing at a time. Learn just how to track your calories. Learn first how many calories you need to be eating. Whatever it is, make sure that you're doing one thing at a time, and then making that one thing no longer something you have to think about. It's already like, boom, I'm meal planning on Saturday, I'm going food shopping Sunday morning, I'm prepping Sunday night, or you're doing it Sunday, prepping and creating on Monday. Whatever you need to do to figure it out, but create the steps so that way, this is like, for me, every Saturday I go to the fish guy because I know he's closed by 5. Every Sunday I make sure I have all my food and my groceries ready, prepared, my vegetables, whatever it is. Every Tuesday or Wednesday I go to Costco and I get my proteins. I have a schedule laid out for when I'm going grocery shopping because I know I'm going to be meal prepping. Now, yeah, when I don't meal prep and menu plan as often, sometimes it's more of a headache and I end up making more trips than I need to. So, hey, it's like, how can you, help yourself? Menu plan. Know ahead of time. And that way, you know. And then look, sometimes you're going to go to the store and there's going to be deals on certain proteins or things like that, and then you can pick it up and then plan your menu around that. You learn as you go, right? So I don't want to go too far into this, but guys, the most important thing about food prep is, hey, it's gonna budget your time, budget your money, and budget your calories accordingly, so that way you're working towards your goal and you're not just eating aimlessly, right? So that's it. Enjoy. Any questions, comments, leave them below.